Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Cieslinski, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Kenny Feldman, founder of Tipsy Teacher Wine, a company blending a love of wine with a passion for giving back to educators. We'll dive into the inspiring story behind the brand, how they support teachers, and what it takes to run a purpose-driven wine company. So without further ado, welcome, Kenny.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. And as a teacher, I have my little teacher headband on on today, and a wine lover. This company is definitely something that is genius because we need lots of wine after our week of teaching. And I love that it gives back to the community. I'm excited for everyone to hear about it.
Awesome. Yeah.
But before we get into that, to start each episode, we have our wine, and win of the week segment. That's where we share our favorite bottle of wine, vent about something that has been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So, Kenny, what is your wine WINE of the week?
Well, mine is a summer vacation. My
Also,
wine.
perfect.
Yeah, it's really good for these warm summer days in Maryland. And yeah, it's got a little teacher on here enjoying her time off.
Oh
Got some
my
snacks on
gosh.
her books. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Sadly, past summer vacation right now, but I love that. I love the artistry behind it as well, and that is what I look like 90% of the summer. So it's great.
It's a good look.
Yes. And what is your WHINE of the week?
Oh, my win this week. We're getting into some really important festivals. When we first started, it was really hard to get into these like wine events as being like an outsider. And as we like building like a rapport in the community, and now we're getting people reaching out to us and giving us like these prime locations at these big wine festivals. And so yeah, we're getting into it's called Wine on the Water. It's a big event over in and it's in Maryland, so it's not big for us. So that's kind of a big win for us. We're excited to go there and show off our stuff and hopefully bring Tipsy Teacher to just a bigger demographic.
That's great. And I'm sorry, what part of Maryland is it in again?
Pasadena.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And that's the wine festivals. I mean, that's how I find out about I don't know if I've ever been to a wine festival, surprisingly, but I've to a bunch of beer festivals, and I always take notes of what I like, and especially if they're local, it's a great way to get introduced to them. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I always like to ask my guests, what is one significant challenge you've successfully navigated, shaping your journey to where you are today?
One significant challenge. I feel like my most recent challenge has been like learning how to actually like interview people and onboard them in a way that like makes them very, gives them peace of mind that we're doing things the right way. I went through tons of interviews and doing everything the wrong way, getting like really A+ candidates that I couldn't quite, get into the job just because I wasn't taking the time to like, okay, what's going to make them feel really warm and fuzzy about taking this job and leaving their other job. And so that's something I'm spending a lot of time on, especially this year, just trying to find A+ candidates that want to work here.
Right. And how have you been successful with that?
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
especially recently, using some help with ChatGPT to help with like phone interviews and like going through a certain format that kind of not only like because if I love them, but they're not sure if they're a fit for me, then it's not going to work. So I have to kind of ask them questions and make them feel like they're giving answers that make them a fit for us too.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been working on.
And that is something, people give a lot of slack to AI and ChatGPT, but I personally feel like it's such a good sounding board when you know what you want. Like, you want this candidate. Okay, well, I know how to ask it, but maybe I'm not asking it in the right way. How can I do that better? And it's been so helpful with so many different things. Being like, yeah, that's exactly what I meant, but I don't know why I couldn't say it that way.
It's really good
So,
articulating your thoughts if you can give it like enough input.
yeah, I totally agree. So the Running Wine Mom, we start with a little fitness as well. What is your favorite way to stay active?
So something I do is I have this app on my phone I think it's called ClearSpace.
Okay.
And what it does is it links to any one of your apps you choose. And basically, if I want to use Instagram for 5 minutes, I have to set the app up and do 5 push-ups. The,
Ooh.
the app literally will have a camera pointing at you and will track your body and track your arms doing the full push-up motion.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so if I want to do 20 minutes Instagram, that's 20 push-ups. It also works for squats as well. So it's kind of super convenient, and there's no reason I can't just crank out 20 push-ups if I want to look at Instagram.
Right. Wow. And it's called ClearSpace. I'll have to
Yes.
link that into the show notes because that is something that I need to probably do too.
It's
But
also
I think no, a lot
It's
of
also
people
a
could
really
benefit from it.
cool feature as well, where you can compete with your friends. And the way you
Oh,
compete is
cool.
whoever does the most push-ups with the least screen time, so netting the net, pretty much banking the most minutes, you win. So it
Wow.
so it drives down your screen time, lifts up your push-ups or your squats.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm
It's
definitely
very
going to look
cool.
into that. So,
Yeah.
thanks for that.
Mhm.
How do you think that maintaining your fitness routine contributes to your relationship between mental health and physical health?
Oh, if I wasn't working out like every day or doing something, I know that I can feel like the anxiety. It's like almost like my anxiety is happening because I have too much going on and I'm not like kind of getting it out.
Hmm.
So it's crucial. Like if I go a few days without just doing something, then I start getting real antsy in my pantsy, and my wife will send me to the gym.
Yeah, I know. I feel as though a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed and anxious. I don't have time to work out. It's like if you just do like 10 minutes of something, everything will kind of, your mind will clear and then you won't feel so overwhelmed with stuff. So it's such a good answer to everything. So next up is parenthood. Tell us about your family.
So I just my daughter is 8 weeks old, my first.
My gosh,
Mhm.
congrats. So you are people are always like you're in it, like you're in
We're in it. Yeah,
it.
we're
Welcome to the
still
club.
yeah, we had like yesterday was a great day, lots of sleep, so we paid for it today with lots of fussiness, but we're figuring
Yeah.
like every day is like a puzzle that we have to solve with her, and it's definitely making me flex some creative muscles to kind of get it going. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. I was definitely not prepared for the first 12 weeks. Like people had talked about like sleep training and this, that. And I'm like, okay, we're going to start everything right away. And I'm like, you actually can't do like anything for the first 12 weeks because they're just trying to like allow them to survive. So that was a big shock to me.
It's been very hard to get anything done. We actually today we went to a daycare, and actually looked at it, and we're like, okay, we gotta find, because my wife, she's on maternity leave, but she also is a doctor and does a lot of fellowship stuff where she's like doing research projects at the same time. So we like there's it's very hard for us to get anything done when like even if the baby's crying in the other room, because we
Right.
both want to run over there and like
Yeah.
check in on her. But if we're both always doing that, we're both always not doing work. So we're trying to balance it and find childcare.
Balance it. Yeah, find your new normal, which you will eventually. Even though it doesn't maybe seem like it at the moment, but it will. Besides maybe the lack of sleep, what do you think you were least prepared for in parenthood so far?
I don't know. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and like I was pretty obsessed with trying to making sure that I do the right things. Maybe not listening to like the baby books. I feel like maybe it's like a difference between like mothers and fathers, where she's really worried about like all the little things with the baby, and I'm worried about like how do I make sure this is a good person and adds value to the world, and is tough and patient and all these other things. But I still get a lot of information about like the baby stuff. So I don't feel like I was unprepared. I feel like because both of us really cared a lot about being good parents. So um,
Yeah. Well, that's great. I love that you are listening to, and it is so important. I always say, as a high school teacher, like, I don't know. I was just saying this yesterday on an interview. Like, I don't know who was breastfed. I don't know who was bottle fed. I don't know who slept through the night at like a certain amount, but like, I do know if they're a good kid or not. Like, you can always tell that whose parents raised them to be good kids and with resilience, which is super important in today's society because a lot of kids, they don't have the resilience anymore because
yeah,
they're
all the
just
instant
not.
gratification just
Yeah,
wears on them.
it's that's my biggest thing. I'm like, I want my kids to have resilience because so many like that instant gratification is really, you know. So as your child gets older, what would you like your parenting style to be? Like, what kind of parent do you think that you'll be in style wise?
I really want to build her self esteem by just letting her fail, like letting her try things, letting her like do dangerous things carefully.
Hmm.
Under my watchful eye, but let her fall, let her learn. That way she knows, and when she does solve problems, she knows that she's capable. She's not always looking for us to do everything.
Yeah, and the fear of failure is also something, that people with a fixed mindset have. They don't have that growth mindset because they're just afraid that a failure is a negative thing. But teaching kids that failure is really such a positive, it helps them to grow. So I love that. And what is one advice do you think that you would give maybe brand new parents so far?
Just if they're fussy and they've been fed and they've been changed, just try every possible 360-degree variation of like patting them on the back. I have her like her head's here and her like just holding her like, and usually one of these ways, if I can find it, whether it's just holding her straight out, like it'll work.
Yeah.
There's some comfortable position. You just have to find it, and be patient.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so let's get into the Tipsy Teacher. Can you tell us the story behind it? Like, how did it all begin?
Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur for a while now, and before I had a business with before this, a friend that we ended up like selling it, and I was looking for something else to do, and one of my best friends, Brittany's a teacher. She's my best friend's wife, and we were just thinking about like starting a new business, about like what could we do. Um, Now, let me kind of backstep a little bit. So in this transitioning period where I had sold the business, looking for something to do, we were just chatting about um, her work and how much money she spends on school supplies, and kind of sparked my like entrepreneurial mind to be like, okay, what if we start a business and we, use the proceeds to help classrooms? And we're sitting there literally drinking wine, and I asked her like, what do teachers love? And she's like, what about wine? I was like,
Yeah.
why not? Um, Now, in retrospect, wine is a really, really hard thing to get into, especially when you have no vineyard, no winery. I'm not like in the wine space. I don't come from being in wine sales, um, but I figured it out. Well,
It's
basically, that's how
amazing.
it started. We wanted to make a product for teachers that supports teachers, that teachers will love.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's funny, my cousin who is from the Philadelphia area, he moved to New Zealand, I guess it's like 12 years ago now, to become a winemaker. And, he went through all of that stuff and he's been in New Zealand for that long because that's where the kind of wine country, besides Napa is. But to just start it in, Maryland, that's amazing to kind of grow that into something so successful. I love that. So what inspired the name Tipsy Teacher?
Um, I feel like we kind of sat around and kind of had some wine and workshopped it, and it was just like the funniest, just instant like, I don't know, it was just funny.
Yeah.
So we thought it would resonate with the teachers, and it really does. At these events we go to, they think it's hilarious. We do get like some like kind of negative stuff from like a few like people like that don't have a sense of humor rather.
Hmm.
But besides that, like the teachers love it. The people that matter, our customers love it.
That's awesome. So, are you guys mostly directed at teachers, or do you think like what is your main clientele base? I know that it's to support teachers, but how do you get other people to also really get involved in it as well?
Yeah, so we, our it's like basically wine for teachers, but it's more like it's wine for people who support teachers. All the wines, each different type celebrates a just a different kind of aspect of being a teacher. One's called early dismissal. It's got a our doodle of Brittany. Brittany's the one is all the in all the on the labels, but it's her
Okay.
slamming the laptop shut, and kids going out the door. Then we have after school snack, which is it's Brittany's throwing an apple behind her back, reaching for some wine. So it's all about celebrating teachers. But a thing we do to kind of connect our customers to the teachers directly is that we have a QR code on the back of the bottle. That when you scan it, it links directly to a teacher, so you can see the teacher that your purchase is supporting at the time.
Wow.
You can see we generally get like a video of them just saying like, here's who I am, here's why I'm raising money for my classroom, along with a little bio, and then underneath of that is a form for a new teacher to fill out. So if you're interested in
Okay.
getting funded by us, just scroll down after you go to teacherwines.com/teachers, you name why you're raising money, and submit it to us, and that's how we find our teachers generally.
Okay, I will absolutely link that, and I'm gonna get myself in it too because that'll be so fun. So when you originally decided on the QR code, like how did you decide that? Because that's such a unique aspect of it. I love that that's so specific for, you know, a lot of times it's like, oh, it's going to a classroom. All right, well, where does this money go? And the fact of having a QR code for a specific teacher. So how do you keep all of that in line? Like, do you get a notification that this bottle of wine sold for this specific teacher, or how does that kind of work?
So we don't have, it's not like every bottle of wine goes to a different teacher, because that would be
A
completely,
lot. Yeah.
I don't know how I would manage that. But we do find, what we do is we find teachers every week or so. So
Okay.
it's a new teacher, and we kind of take it a step further, because the way we do it is, if you sign a QR code and you see the teacher and you want to like follow her, we have, you can subscribe to our emails or just follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And what we try to do is, after we fund the teacher, get a supply list of just, hey, what did they buy with the money we gave them, so we can kind of keep everyone connected to their story. And then a lot of teachers will do like a thank you message also, so we can say, hey, if you bought wine between these 2 dates, you helped, Mrs. Schmetzer, and
That's great.
that way, and then we keep repeating the process. Find a teacher, fund her, see where the money went, get a thank you note, find another teacher. And it's kind of just like a fun roller coaster of just helping teachers.
That's so cool. So besides funding teachers, do you have any other specific initiatives or partnerships that they've been involved in to support teachers?
We've done a few fundraisers. So sometimes a school or a program in a school will like want to raise some money, and we'll do actually an online fundraiser where we build like a little landing page for them, and with a discount code for them. So let's say it's like St. Mary High School. If you go to the landing page, you put in SMHS, you'll get 10% off, and $1 of every bottle sold will go right back to that school. And after the fundraiser is over, after usually 2 weeks, we write them a check for those proceeds and give it right back to them.
That's
So that's something
cool.
else we do too. But generally,
And
that's
who,
with like private schools, because public schools can't really do that.
I know. Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm like, I would love to do it for our school, but I don't know if they would, because I'm at a public school. But maybe, but definitely, my daughter goes to a Catholic school, so maybe I could ask them
Yeah, there
about
you
it.
go. That's
That would
our
be
big.
fun.
Some of our biggest fundraisers have been with, Catholic schools.
Awesome. And who does the art on the labels, or do you do it graphically, or does someone draw them?
So I went through. You know what Fiverr is?
I don't know if I know what that
Fiverr's
is.
like it's like gig work, but for like art and like all kinds of different, if you want to build a website or anything like that. So you can go on there and just find different art styles. And then I found someone whose art style I liked, and I said, hey, I'm looking to make my friend into a doodle, and kind of in these scenarios, and they would just do them. So yeah, basically, I use someone. I think I'm not sure where they live. They're somewhere overseas.
Okay.
But yeah, so I found an artist online.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. What do you think your biggest like aha moment in starting Tipsy Teachers has been so far?
Biggest moment, and I feel like a lot of the aha moments came before, just like like learning about business, understanding marketing, which led me into it, because I knew, like, I had a feeling, you're making something for someone, and that's huge when it comes to like e-commerce or just any product. If you're just like, hey, I want to make this, it's cool. It's like, great, who's it for? Okay, and now you know who it's for. How do you market it to them? So I think my biggest aha moment was just like, make this for someone, and
Yeah.
make wine for teachers. And it's when, especially when you're walking into a wine store and you're like, what should I buy? And then you see Tipsy Teacher, and you're a teacher, you're not gonna not buy that.
Right. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
the I feel as though with wine, it's such a big part of, say don't judge a book by its cover, but like I buy a lot of wine based on their label because you're like, "Ooh, I really like this looks really
Hmm.
cool." So the wine's probably cool too.
So the label sells the first bottle, and then the
Mhm.
wine sells the rest.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how has Tipsy Teacher evolved since its inception?
Well, when we first started, so kind of to backtrack, to start a wine brand when you don't have a vineyard or any access, it's not like you can just go knocking on wineries' doors and getting them to work with you. I know, because I tried. Um, I emailed and reached out and called every single winery in the state of Maryland. Nobody responded. Um, like, a spoiler alert, once I started working with a winery in Maryland, they get hit up all the time by people that want to start their own wine brand. And what
Hmm.
usually ends up happening to the winery is they do all this legwork, they get labels approved. It's a lot of regulation and compliance. And then when it comes time to like really get things going, the customer disappears. And the wineries,
Mm.
out of all this time and money of getting it going, so that's why they don't. You're not. It's very hard to do that. But so the way I got started was I found this company who will basically they connect you with wineries who are willing to private label, but you get to
Mm.
do it under their license because it's very you have to have your own license to manufacture. But they charge you a huge fee, and so I did that. I paid a huge fee. I mean, the wine cost me more money than it cost you to buy wine in the store. I paid for it to get my label on it.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
but it got us going, and we were set to be an online only website. And I'm trying to remember, yeah. So we were set to be online only. We launched the website. We got no sales
Oh
at all.
gosh, you're like,
Um,
oh
yeah.
no.
So I was good at kind of branding, but I wasn't good at advertising. I don't know why I thought it would just start selling. But I started reaching out to the news,
Wow.
and just like, hey, there's a local Maryland wine brand now that's for teachers. And actually, we got a few hits, and we were on the news like 3 times,
Wow.
and ended up selling out completely. And while I was on the news, because again, our costs were so high because of the way we had to do it, and all this overhead with these management companies. On the news, I said we would love to work with a local Maryland company, and someone heard that, and they reached out to us, and our costs like went like probably a third of what it was.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and that really changed the business. And then because we're in Maryland now, there's all these other things we can do, like sell to liquor stores, go to events. Because we're in the
Okay.
state of Maryland, we have these like special things we're allowed to do. Where the
Hmm.
wine was made in California, we can't do anything in Maryland.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we have something similar. It's probably we have a lot of farms near where I live in Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of like loopholes that, they can go through if it's specifically made in Pennsylvania. So I
Mhm.
guess that's something similar with
They self-distribute. Yeah.
yeah, to district. Okay. All right. That's all. So what so far has been the most rewarding part of running Tipsy Teacher?
Oh, so going to the events, these wine festivals, and seeing the teachers that so they light up. They're like, "Oh my God, I saw Tipsy Teacher Wine on the vendor thing on the for the event, but I didn't know what it was." And they showed up and they see it and they're like, I don't know, just seeing them light up and then once and then we tell them what we actually do and
Yeah.
just seeing that their reaction. And I finally got smart enough to start capturing those moments where like
Oh,
the
cool.
people who are really excited about it, I'm like, do you mind if I just quickly put this microphone on you and we get a quick testimonial? And they're like, oh my God, yes. And if you look at our Instagram, we have a few of those up there. People are just like, oh my God, I can't believe this exists. I'm so excited. It helps teachers. It tastes good. Um, so that's been
Yeah.
very fun and rewarding just to see people's reaction to the thing we built.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I found out about you guys through one of your friend through a friend of a friend, essentially. One of my friends is friends with one of your friends, and he was telling me all about this. And I'm like, wait, this is like the best thing I've ever heard. A teacher, I love wine. Like, let's get him on the podcast. People need to know about this. And I immediately like had no idea anything else about what the wine even tasted like, but I heard what you guys did and I just felt as though who could not love this? This is just such a great premise to be giving back to teachers through something that is so near and dear to our hearts. Like I said, on a Friday, wine is a must. Sometimes on a
You need to
Tuesday
take
too.
that what you just said and put that into that's
Yeah,
a testimony right there.
I can send you a clip of it. Absolutely. So do you have a favorite wine from your collection?
Depends on the time of year. I mean, when it's like a hot, really hot day out, the summer vacation is like the perfect. Throw some ice cubes in it by the
Hmm.
beach or by the pool. In like the fall, maybe like after school snack, it's a sweet Merlot with black cherry and raspberry.
Ooh.
If you're just like kind of having like a night out or having a little party, but if you're out to dinner or having like steak or a big old bowl of spaghetti, the Cabernet Extra Credit Cab,
Mm.
that's also super good. So really, like they're all really good in certain situations.
So, how do you envision the future of Tipsy Teacher, both in terms of product and impact?
Yeah, so what I would love to do is kind of we've had about the same 3 to 5 wines since we started. We want to get to a point where we can actually start introducing more wines and kind of having like seasonal wines and sort of wine club where every season there's like a new wine comes out. It'll be with all new like funny quotes on the cork, a whole new label, peachy principal, parent teacher Pinot. So to join the wine club, You never know what you're going to get, but you know it's going to be something fun and funny, and that's going to make an impact. As far as making an impact, yeah, I would love to get to a point where instead of having one teacher we do at a time, if we could have one teacher for each state we're doing, and then when you scan the
Oh, that's
QR
cool.
code, there's some technologies I believe that when you scan the QR code, depending on where you're geo located at, it can send you to
Oh,
a certain website. And that'd be
wow.
really cool to be like, okay, you're in California, so you're gonna get this California teacher that we're helping this week. Um, and that's something we gotta figure out on the back end. But that'd be really cool to have. So so you know that your bottle's going directly to the teacher in that area.
Yeah.
Because the way we can track is we can track by the scans. So we got 400 scans in California this week. That means we have $400 to give to that teacher this week.
Wow, that technology is just so cool. That is something that I never imagined would be a possibility to just scan a QR code and it links you based on your location. But that would be really game changing because it's, not that you don't want to help all the teachers, but like, yeah, if it is just another aspect that gives you a little bit of like, all right, this is helping someone much closer to me. And
Yeah,
that's what we
kind of in
love
your
doing.
ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So for the wine lovers who are new to Tipsy Teacher, what's the best way to start their journey with your brand?
I mean, we do. I would sign up for our emails. They're pretty fun, and like I said, all we really do is send you information about the teacher. Like I said, what they're buying with the school supplies, a thank you note, and then we let you know when there's events happening near you. Right now, all of our events are in Maryland because we're still growing, and then we let you know about new wines when this wine club comes out too, so you can sign up for it. And yeah, we have TikTok too. We have TikTok and Instagram. We try to make some fun videos and get our testimonials on there, and just should have like a good vibe is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, great. Oh my gosh, you've given us so much information. What would you like to leave our listeners with today as we kind of wind down with this?
Well, even if you don't use us, make sure you're always giving your teachers like the appreciation they deserve. It's really hard out there, especially these days. I'm sure people hear in the news like kids are like getting real violent sometimes, and I couldn't imagine like a harder job right now than being a teacher in America. This like right now.
Yeah, there's good days, there's bad days. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of like internal calmness, I guess,
Mhm.
to work with students. But there are a lot of great ones out there. But teachers, yes, support. That is great. All right, so that is going to bring us to the end of another episode of the Running Wine Mom. A big thank you to Kenny for sharing the story behind Tipsy Teacher and for his incredible work in supporting the teacher community through his passion for wine. If you want to learn more about the Tipsy Teacher or grab a bottle for yourself, check out their website in the show notes. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it. You can follow me on Instagram at the Running Wine Mom underscore. And Kenny, where can the listeners find you?
Tipsy Teacher Wine on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Perfect. And I will link all of that. Thank you so much for joining us today. That was so awesome to
This was
have you
fun.
come on. Yeah. All right. Thanks to the listeners. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers, and I will be back next Tuesday.